Alrighty, hey guys, AnimeWestReacts here. Let's give a reaction to Talentless chapter 97, titled Someone. So we got Jin and Rin on the cover, like in a mirror basically, or it's Rin like leaning back against the tree with Jin being like reflected in this mirror. But alright, let's get into it. It says, even after the military betrayed us, the infighting continued. Jin and I made a plan to leave the island, but can get bit by a snake. Jin blows him away. And the kid says, if you run, I'll kill you. We are the chosen warriors. The enemies of humanity are invading. Stand and fight. And then yeah, Jin just kills him. Like, she's like, yeah. Yeah, he dies. Jin, and then Rin is narrating, saying, we all had the ability to snuff out human lives and plenty of experience in doing so. Everyone who could be reasoned with was dead. And then Rin says, are you okay, Jin? He says, thanks to your aid, yes. And she says, sometimes you're a bit unsteady on your feet. And then he says, it seems our supplies have been stolen. Even with your culinary skills, it will be hard to reach the mainland with no food or water. And he says, what will you do when you get there? And he says, naturally, I'll hold a little dinner party and invite the politicians who put us through this hell. And then she says, I see. I don't know what I'll do. And then Jin says, accompany me. And Rin's like, you are, after all, the puppet-like Miss Nobody. Told you before, I will not forget you. And for that, I need a deep understanding of you. And then, yeah, she says, my consent is not required, right? And then he says, heh. And then Jin says, still thank you. If it weren't for, Rin says that. Still thank you. If it weren't for you, Jin, I'd be dead. And then, yeah, Jin says, I thought you wanted to die. And so she says, not anymore. Helping you, no, helping others makes me happy. Even in these desperate fights, I've only ever held my brother back. And Jin says, I too have never tolerated another for so long before. And he says, Rin says, really? And then Jin says, aside from animals, of course. This says, and then we faced off against the last remaining group. Jin handled all the planning, and yeah. It says, where, hey. And someone comes with a stick. And yeah, gets stabbed with a knife and killed. Oh yeah, it's Rin. Looking like Kyoya. That's what it was. It says, we fooled the leader who could stop time and took him out. A silence fell over the island. I thought we'd finally be able to live peacefully together. And Jin's down. So yeah, that's why I was not able to walk clearly. It says, Rin says, I learned later that he suffered a delayed cerebral hemorrhage. It was caused by the head injury he got when he protected her. So yeah, it left the island, or left the animals behind and left off the island. So yeah, she says, I followed the plan Jin came up with. I used his power to propel the boat and set out to sea. I needed to save Jin. I kept steering the boat, occasionally becoming a bird to keep a lookout. Jin didn't wake up, but the fact that I could still transform into him was proof that he was still alive. A day passed. I was exhaustingly watching the night when... And then he says, she says, Jin. She yells, Jin, thank God you woke up. And he says, I still have things I want to do. Suits to wear, zoos to visit. Locations of natural beauty to visit and appreciate. I want to look after my grandmother. I want to visit high-class restaurants and learn about their wines and come home to my cat. And I want revenge against the politicians and the military. And then he says, would you do that for me? She's like, "Wow, don't be stupid. You could do that yourself." And he says, "It was just a joke. I guess it didn't land well, huh?" And she's like, "Yeah." And Ren's like, "Hey, stay awake." And then he says, "Miss Nobody, become somebody. You are kind. You can become someone unlike anyone else." And then he says, "After that, Jin didn't wake up again. Once we reached the mainland, I used my powers to earn money and relied on back alley doctors and facilities to keep Jin alive." Yeah, that's what we saw before. Or I guess at one point we saw before. So yeah, it says, "Jin swore to me that he would never forget me, so I will never forget him. Or forget Jin. If I were to ever become somebody, it would have to be Jin. So I decided to forget about my brother. Because I am Tachibana Jin." And so yeah, that's that. So that explains what happened, I guess. So yeah, Ren was actually there the entire time, pretty much, is what it means. It's pretty cool. But yeah, if you enjoyed these reactions, like the video, share it, sub the channel, and I'll see y'all later. Bye.